Visiting Chinese Premier Li Keqiang and his Indian counterpart Manmohan Singh have agreed to further consolidate the Sino-Indian strategic partnership for peace and prosperity and to push for fresh and substantial progress in bilateral cooperation. Andrew Dupuy takes a closer look.
Meeting with Singh in New Delhi on Monday, Premier Li said China and India are important neighbors and partners by nature. He chose India as the first leg of his maiden overseas tour to demonstrate the sincerity of China's new leadership and the great importance it attaches to developing ties with India. Li also presented a 5-point proposal on promoting bilateral ties, including strengthening strategic communication to increase political mutual trust, advancing pragmatic cooperation and deepening the convergence of their interests, enhancing cooperation in defense to increase mutual trust in security affairs, expanding cultural and people-to-people exchanges to enhance mutual understanding, as well as continuing to push forward negotiations on border issues so as to jointly maintain peace and tranquility in border areas. For his part, Singh said India and China, both at a crucial stage of development, share extensive common interests and harbor great potential for cooperation, adding they would remain good neighbors and cooperative partners regardless of how regional and international situations change. He said India is willing to work with China to implement any consensus reached by the two sides and seek more fruitful results in cooperative efforts. During the meeting, Li also reiterated Beijing's principles and stance on Tibet, while the Indian Prime Minister said his country recognizes Tibet as part of China's territory and will not allow any anti-China activities on Indian soil. The two leaders also had an in-depth exchange of views on regional and global affairs, agreeing to enhance coordination within the G20 and BRICS and cement cooperation in such fields as climate change, anti-terrorism, and food and energy security. Andrew Dupuy, CCTV.
Well, let's follow up our coverage of this visit, and China says it's reached a strategic consensus with India to deepen mutual trust. Li Keqiang made the statement after talks with Manmohan Singh on Monday in New Delhi, and the two sides signed 8 agreements to expand practical cooperation between the two nations. Zhang Nini reports from New Delhi.
The two Asian neighbors have agreed to improve the mechanism for settling border disputes and reiterated their commitment to maintaining peace and tranquility. Premier Li Keqiang said that they had established principles for settling the issue. He believes they should further tap into common ground.
Both Prime Minister Singh and I believe there are far more common interests than differences between our two sides. We need to confront issues with a broad mind and tackle them in a mature way.
Special representatives from China and India will meet soon to seek an early agreement on a fair, reasonable and mutually acceptable boundary settlement. Meanwhile, the two sides have signed agreements to increase communication on transborder waters. Altogether, 8 agreements were signed, from trade to tourism and culture. India's Prime Minister called for more mutual trust to expand converging interests.
It is important to build understanding between our two peoples. We agreed that both sides must work to strengthen greater trust and confidence, which in turn will permit much larger cooperation.
The two sides agreed to cooperate on industrial parks, infrastructure and other areas, work towards creating an economic corridor with Bangladesh and Myanmar, and to connect the huge Chinese and Indian markets. The world's 2 largest developing countries have issued a joint statement to deepen their partnership over a broad spectrum of issues. Leaders of both countries have agreed to look beyond their differences and keep their eyes on the future. Cooperation between China and India goes beyond their bilateral dimension and has a global and strategic significance. Zhang Nini, CCTV, New Delhi.
Well, besides Manmohan Singh, Li Keqiang has also met with the chief of the ruling Indian National Congress Party, Sonia Gandhi, and the Indian Vice President, Mohammad Hamid Ansari, in New Delhi. And during talks with Gandhi, Premier Li said the cooperation between China and India has brought concrete benefits to the two peoples. The cooperation has helped promote peace and prosperity in the region and around the world. Premier Li said the latest cooperation agreement signed during his visit will strengthen the strategic cooperative partnership between the two countries. For Gandhi's part, she said the development and prosperity of China and India will make the world more balanced. She hopes China and India can expand their people-to-people exchanges, especially youth exchanges. During the meeting with Ansari, Li Keqiang said China will further expand congressional exchanges with India, as this is an important channel to strengthen the two countries' friendship. On Monday, Li Keqiang also met with Sushma Swaraj, the opposition leader in the lower house of parliament. Premier Li said China is ready to work with India to promote exchanges between the two countries' political parties to further consolidate bilateral links.